everyone, I'm Rachel, here with Ari, and we're your hosts for the Merry Writer podcast. This week we're on episode 326, asking, how do you get back into writing after a hiatus? Before we start, don't forget to visit and follow our coffee page where you can access lots of goodies for free. And if you're in a position to support us, you can become a Merry Writer for just $2 a month and get access to exclusive content. Everything we earn on coffee goes into keeping the show going, so we really do appreciate any support. So when we talk about, a writing hiatus, that can mean a lot of different things. It can mean that you had writer's block and you just couldn't get any writing done. It could mean that you burnt yourself out with writing, so you just ended up taking a break. Some hiatuses are on purpose, others aren't. As sometimes you just went on vacation and then when you get back home, you realize it's a little difficult to get back into writing after so long. So that's what we're talking about. No matter why you took a writing hiatus, whether it was on purpose or not, we're just going to give you some tips to get back into writing. And I'll start by saying, start slow. Please, I beg of you, start slow. Don't dive back into it because you will regret it. There have been times where I've ended up taking a writing hiatus, and when I realized just how long it's been since I've written anything, I kind of go into this panic and I feel like I need to make up the lost time. So then I tell myself, well, I need to set aside an hour or 2 hours every single day and play catch up. And no, that's not going to help. It's just going to make you burn out faster and you're going to end up in another writing hiatus. And that time it's not going to be on purpose. You just want to start slow. A lot of times when I'm getting back into writing, I don't sit down and start writing. I'll do some outlining or brainstorming, or sometimes I even just plan, but I'm not even planning a specific book. I'm planning a routine for myself or a schedule for myself, and I'm planning what I can write on which day and things like that. And even though I'm doing a lot of planning, I never set a start date. Sometimes I'll add mini deadlines or anything, but I never do a start date because I don't want to force myself to get back into writing before I'm ready. And a lot of times when I do this planning, it's me just planning like 10 years in advance and I'm making lists after list after list. And that makes me happy. So a lot of times I will end up starting writing just naturally because I'll look at the list and it'll excite me and I'll say, "Ooh, this is where I want to be 5 years from now, so let's get started." And it excites me and then I just naturally get back into writing before the hiatus inevitably comes back. But you know what? It happens.
Yeah, I agree. It's like there is this weird, I find it two things. You can either end up panicking and doing what you do where you're like, I've got to write everything right now. Or the other one is you go into paralysis and it's like the extent of the hiatus feels like it's pressing on you and you're like, I don't know how to start. And then you get the guilt from not starting and then you get the stress and it's just like a nice little cycle where you just don't get anything done and you're having another hiatus, but it's being forced on you because you're not doing anything and then you feel like a failure. Or is that just me?
No, that you said it perfectly. That's part of the reason why I start planning because you have that decision paralysis and you can't figure out, well, before I took my hiatus, I was working on this, but I'm not really feeling it right now, but I know I should get back to writing. And then you sit down and you start. And it's part of the reason why I said, don't tell yourself I need to set aside an hour every single day to start writing because you will sit there and nothing will get done. And then you'll feel guilty and it's a cycle. You'll start it all up again, as Ari just explained. Yeah, and it can be a mess. It can be a frustrating mess. So don't do it. Start slow.
It can be a mess, and we don't want mess. Our lives are messy enough. No. For me, one of the ways I always get back into from my hiatus is I read older work. So what I'll do is if I have an open novel that I'm working on, I will go back to anything I've already written and I'll just read it. Might do a bit of editing because you can't stop yourself, but I'll just read it. Or I'll open another one of my projects that I haven't opened for a while and I'll read that. It's almost like being reintroduced to the world. And this might sound silly, but it almost helps you find your voice again. I always worry that whenever I stop writing for a long time, that I'll forget how I sound, which is stupid because once you've learned your voice, it's kind of just there. I don't think I've ever lost it. But I do have this weirdness, like, what if I start writing and sounding weird? So I go back and I read my old scenes, I go back to my old projects, especially ones I really love, And I'll just read through everything. And I'll have those moments of going like, oh my God, did I write this? And then I'll have moments where it's like, oh wow, I wrote this. I wrote this. This is brilliant. And you kind of need both. But I just find it usually kind of does that little kickstart of like, yeah, now I want to write because I'm really enjoying reading these and I want to know where they go. I want to see the ending so I can start writing. So yeah, I find that just going over something that you've written either before you went on your hiatus or something from another project, especially if you're finding that paralysis with the current project you're working on, or if it's a new project and you're thinking like, oh, this staring at that blank page is giving you like conniptions, then just go and read something of yours. Read several things. Tweak them a bit if you want to. Maybe write the odd silly scene that doesn't go into the novel. But yeah, just reading it will kind of remind you why you wanted to do the writing and why you need to finish it.
No, that's a really good point because I often don't read back over my older work. Sometimes if I take a break from a novel for a couple of weeks, then I will obviously read back what I previously wrote so I can get back into it. But I often if I'm sitting down for a writing session, I want to write. So I kind of forget that you should read your older work and you should go back to what you've read in the past. But I agree with Ari, when you do that, it's like a familiarity. It's something familiar so that it can help you get back into it. And as Ari said, you're reintroducing yourself to the world and to the characters. So I like that. That's a really good idea. So, and even if that's the writing session, you're just sitting there rereading your work, that's fine. You're still thinking about it and your butt is back in your chair and you're looking at your work. So I think that counts, even if you're not getting any actual words down. So I'll just dive into my next point, and I'm going to say stop listening to everyone. And I'm not including me and Ari in this because we know what's best. But no, that's a joke. My point is stop listening to what everyone else does and do what works best for you. And I say this in a lot of podcast episodes, so you're probably sick of me saying it, but writing every single day versus a few days per week or even once a week or whatever, sometimes that's better. Not everybody can write every single day. Not everybody has 3 hours to spare every single day. If you're only writing once a week, and maybe some days that's 2 hours, maybe other times it's only 20 minutes, that's fine. That's great. You're still writing and you're doing it. So every time you take a writing hiatus, however you get yourself back into those writing sessions, if that's what works for you, then keep doing that. And over time, depending on the project and how long your hiatus was and, what kind of mood you're in, sometimes what you did before won't work this time, but that's why you gotta keep things fresh and you gotta try different things. So start slow, read over your older work and or go right outside and change up your environment a little bit. Like there are different things that you can do to get back into it, and some things will work great for you and others won't. So listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your characters, and do whatever works to get you back into it.
Yeah, it's funny how we can do certain things for a long time and then it just doesn't work. And we start something else. I mean, I used to be a night writer. I was always writing in the evening. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's when I was more creative. That was when I got all my ideas. And it wasn't. It was actually more situational. I had more time in the evening than the morning because I had to get up early to commute to work. And I just didn't have time to do it in the mornings. And then when weekend came around, I slept in because I was so tired. So then I had my evenings full of time. And when that changed and I had more time in the mornings, it felt like I was grinding the gears to change to be a morning writer. And it was like, no, definitely a night writer. I need to be. And it's like, it wasn't, it was all situational. And then when that changed, I was like, oh, I can actually write during the day and the morning. And it was like the morning was the most important. I had to do it before 10. And then eventually that changed because now I don't have that. It's more in the afternoon when I do my writing. So now I've moved into, you know, midday magpie rather than early bird night owl. And so sometimes we have to remember that you'd have to do what works, and sometimes it changes, and you have to be willing to let it change. There is one little caveat I have seen with some writers. If you have a routine ritual, I have seen some writers where they have this ritual that kind of sets their mind right. So maybe they come in and they have to have the coffee in a certain mug. They come in, they sit down, they put on maybe an air purifier, or maybe they have like a diffuser that has some scent in it. Maybe they light a candle. Maybe they have to have all their pens lined out in color coded lines. Maybe they have to play a song, a specific song. Maybe they have to listen to one specific album. Maybe they need to have the window open, and they'll have like a set of things. And each one of those things is like a little cue in their brain that triggers the next one. And by the time they've done all the like the ritual things, it's already told their brain, right, we're ready to write. And that way they can do it any time of the day, but they just need to set those cues going. So they get it already. Now, I've seen that and I have heard that that works pretty well, because it's almost like it's kind of a routine, but you're not locked into a routine against time, or, even the where you sit. It can just be do these 5 things in this order, and your brain is like, oh, right, we're queued up for working. So yeah, if you're not sure, try that and then tell us how it went.
Well, I'm gonna have to try it now because you bring up some really good points. You're basically conditioning your brain for, those writing sessions, and you're telling yourself, like, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, it doesn't matter where I am or who I'm with or what's currently going on in my life. We need to get some writing done. And I don't know, it's just it does something to your brain, and it helps. It does help. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. That would be a fun writing challenge if we ever bring back the writing
Oh.
challenges. We were doing them for a little while and then we kind of stopped.
Yeah, they were getting a bit frustrating, but yeah, we should throw in the odd random one, just like here's a writing
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah, we could like pick up a routine, have a, because I used to have a mini one. I would only ever listen to the same album when I was writing. When I could listen to music, I'm past that now. Now it's like everybody has to be quiet, just silence. It's so yeah, we could like set up a thing, right? We have to light a candle, we have to have a certain scent, and then we get those, and they become synonymous with the writing, you know. So we could try it.
Yeah,
There you are.
yeah, no.
We need new episode ideas, so let's stick that on the board.
I know, yeah, why not? I'll write it down. We'll probably forget about it as soon as we stop recording, but I'll write it down when I edit the episode.
Speaking of boards, my great segue. You could also do something that's a bit more playful, and I'm not saying that writing isn't playful. I'm not saying writing isn't fun, but if you're coming back from a hiatus, it can be a little bit stressful. If you're anything like us, you could do something more playful where you create like a Pinterest mood board or a character board, or maybe you want to look through a lot of celebrity photos and pick your dream team cast, just for you. Or maybe you want to look at landscape imagery and pick out areas that you're like, wow, that reminds me of this, the King's Dagger Mountain. That's from my novel. And then you could like again build a mood board, or just kind of fill your screen with this imagery that catapults you to your world. That can be really fun. Like I've been trying to get character art sorted, and again, terrible. I have not done this in a long time, character art, and it's certainly not been one that I will eventually be using for my book. So when I was doing this, it was like very new, and the artists were like, "Oh yeah, tell us about your character and like give us any reference pictures." And I was like, "Oh, I never thought of that," which I should have, because I used to do art myself, and I have asked people for references in the past. So stupid me. And so I was looking, and obviously you're not looking for a person that looks like your character. You're looking for things like, okay, my character has this style of hair in this shade. Can I find a photo that matches? My character has this skin tone. My character has this style of dress or this facial features. Maybe they've got sharp cheekbones and a pointy chin and high eyebrows. And you're looking for faces that match. And I actually had great fun looking around, because I have a character and they have a raven pin, and I was very obsessed with how the raven pin was going to look. It's a piece of art. It's going to be very small, is the raven pin. But it got in my head, and I spent about 30 minutes looking for the right shape of raven that would be the pin. Ridiculous. But it really got me excited about writing the novel, because it was like I was seeing the characters come to life in my head. I was like, yes, this is, because while you're writing them, you're describing, that's one thing. But when you see it, you're like, oh my God, yeah, this is how their hair falls. And this is the shade of hair I want. This is the way the freckles cross the nose and the bridge. Because again, you put freckles into Pinterest, It's not like one type of, there's so many different, it's like people are covered in freckles, people where it's just very light, where they're brown, where they're red. There's so many different styles of freckles. So you can't just say they've got freckles. What type of freckles? How are they on their body? You need to explain this, and it's better if you can get a reference. So have some fun with that side. Take your camera, go outside and find areas that remind you of your location or something like that, and take photos, any of the fun visual stuff, if you're able to, obviously. Or anything like that. Or, I mean, I've gone out with my phone and I have recorded sound effects of the water and the fires and the wind in the trees and the rustling of leaves and things, because they remind me of like my character in the forest, or, where they crouch around a fire in a campsite. And I have taken those and I can listen to them. Well, and yes, I know there are programs online that you can do it. I like doing it myself. I like going out and getting the sound of the water lapping up against rocks, because then it's I know it's not copyrighted, it's my sound that I recorded, and it was a personal thing. So yeah, there's so many things you can do that.
Yeah, no, I have done that too. I have a ton of videos on my phone where I just recorded the rain, the thunderstorm, fire, the water lapping on like I have done even just wind. I've taken close-up videos of flowers and grass just blowing in the wind, and sometimes wind doesn't always translate well through the phone. It sounds yucky sometimes, but every once in a while you can get like a good little blip. And yeah, just do things like that to kind of immerse yourself back into your world, and that'll help you get back into your writing. There will probably be some times where you mean to sit down and get some writing done, and then you end up spending the next 6 hours on Pinterest creating those mood boards, or scrolling through Canva and trying to create your own little aesthetics and whatnot. But you know what? That's fine. If it helps you get back in the mood so that the next time you sit down to write, you actually get some writing done, that's a good thing. So, and I mean, that's kind of why I started off this episode by saying start slow. Give yourself some time. Don't just jump right back into it, because you probably will regret it and you'll just start the cycle all over again. But we already kind of touched upon that. So yeah, if you've ended up taking a writing hiatus, no matter how long it's been, no matter whether it was on purpose or accidental, you can get back into your writing. It may not be the simplest thing to do, but you can do it. You will do it, and you'll have fun with it. I promise. Well, maybe I shouldn't promise, but you can do it. I believe in you. That said, we want to hear from you now. How long of a writing hiatus have you taken, and what did you do to get back into writing? I think the longest hiatus I took was a year, maybe 2 years. It was a long time. But anyway, let's chat about it in the comments. And remember, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we're interviewing another author on the show. So to ensure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button on your way out. And if you'd like to learn more about us, please check out our website at themerrywriterpodcast.podbean.com and our coffee page for more content. Thank you for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. We will see you guys next week. This podcast is brought to you by Buying More Books. We can never have enough. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.